Right. So we'll be discussing the chemical properties of ammonia. Yeah. So in the last class, I guess we were discussing this part, that is reaction of ammonium hydroxide with metallic salt solutions. Okay. So yeah. So I hope you understood this. For those who didn't understand, I'll repeat this again because this was all like scribbled up last time. So in this part, we are taking ammonium hydroxide. That is what we expect as aqueous salt solution of metallic salt plus ammonium hydroxide. That is ammonia solution. Okay, you can call it whatever you want. So we are taking that ammonium hydroxide and we are reacting it with 5 different salt solutions. Okay, and you can see that the ions are different. Just like the first and second case are different. Like it's like the same ion, but they are having different valencies, so obviously it's fine. So in the first case, we are taking ferrous sulfate and we are reacting it with ammonium hydroxide. So this is a double decomposition reaction, as I mentioned in the last class. So what happens is that they just exchange the anions over here. As you can see, for your benefit, I have highlighted the anions with different colors so that you can see how it just swaps its place and forms different salts, right? So OH from ammonium hydroxide goes to ferrous sulfate, that is ferrous ion, and it forms ferrous hydroxide. So obviously it is FeOH twice. For those who didn't understand why it is OH twice, it is because ion is having Fe2 plus valency in ferrous sulfate. Okay, FeSO4, it is 2 plus because SO4 is 2 minus, right? So that is why it is forming ferrous hydroxide over here. The color of ferrous hydroxide PPT, all these hydroxides which are formed in this reaction, in these reactions, are precipitates, and they are colored precipitates. Okay, so they have a specific color, and looking at the color, we can easily identify the ions which are present. So this will be something which you'll be learning in analytical chemistry also. So in analytical chemistry, we'll be learning how to identify cations, which is also a part of your practical chemistry. So this part is actually very important. So if you understand this at least a bit, like, now it will be very easy for you to understand analytical chemistry and practical chemistry. Okay. So we have ferrous hydroxide, which is a PPT, which is formed over here along with ammonium sulfate. And the ferrous hydroxide salt is dirty green in color. Okay. Then we take the next salt, which is ferric chloride, and ferric chloride is reacting with ammonium hydroxide. It will give you ammonium chloride. As you can see, chloride from Fe3 plus came to NH4, NH4Cl is formed, and ferric hydroxide is formed. Now, how did this become ferric hydroxide? Because the valency of iron in ferric chloride is 3 plus. Okay, so obviously this will become FeOH thrice. The color of this precipitate ferric hydroxide is reddish brown, right? Then we have lead nitrate and NH4OH. So we get ammonium nitrate over here and lead hydroxide. Lead hydroxide is a precipitate which has got a chalky white color. Chalky white is like if you take chalk powder and you put it in water, it will look exactly like that. So that is a chalky white precipitate. Then we have zinc sulfate reacting with ammonium hydroxide, which will give you ammonium sulfate and zinc hydroxide. So zinc hydroxide is a precipitate which is gelatinous white in color. Gelatinous white is like if you take Vicks and you put it in water, that is how gelatinous white looks like. Okay, Vicks paper put in water gives you that gelatinous kind of a PPT. Okay, so that is what you call as a gelatinous white PPT. And the last one is copper sulfate. So copper sulfate reacts with NH4OH, gives you ammonium sulfate salt and copper hydroxide. Copper hydroxide is pale blue in color. So pale blue, I guess we have seen this in the lab, pale blue. And then when we add more NH4OH into this pale blue PPT will dissolve in NH4OH and it will give you an inky blue solution. Inky blue or deep blue colored solution, just like your blue colored ink. Okay, the solution will turn into that color. Okay, so this is how we identify these cation, that is ferrous, ferric, plumbous, zinc, and cupric. So these ions can be identified using one common reagent, which will be ammonium hydroxide. Okay. So the next topic, so that was about the PPT. You'll be seeing all these things because you'll be doing it in the lab as your practical. Okay, you'll be having practicals on this. Okay, so I hope that point was clear. Is there any doubt? Please raise your hand if you have any doubt. from the previous topic? If there is any doubt, you will raise your hand. No doubts. Okay. Okay, nice. Okay. Yes, Vedant.
Sir, I did not understand that
Uh,
uh, ammonia gas burning of ammonia and oxygen.
are we discussing burning of ammonia and oxygen now, Vedant?
Sir, sorry.
Let me finish the whole chapter and we'll go back to that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So the next property of ammonia which we are studying is ammonia as a reducing agent. Uh, Now, I hope you all know what is a reducing agent. For those who don't know what is a reducing agent, uh, I hope you know what is oxidation and reduction. Okay, so oxidation and reduction, we are studied oxidation and reduction in three different ways. The first method was oxidation is addition of oxygen, right? And reduction was removal of oxygen. The second method was uh, reduction is addition of hydrogen and oxidation is removal of oxygen. And the third one was with respect to electrons. That is like if electrons are lost, it is oxidation, and if electrons are gained, that is reduction. In this chapter, we are studying about oxidizing and reducing, not in terms of electrons. We are studying with respect to hydrogen and oxygen over here. So basically the first reaction, that is metallic oxide to metal. So this is a case where ammonia acts as a reducing agent. Now reducing agent is any substance which will go and remove oxygen from any other substance, or it will provide hydrogen to that substance. Okay, so reducing agent is like something which removes oxygen or provides hydrogen. Okay, so thereby helping that particular substance to undergo reduction. Okay, so in this case I have taken an example of copper oxide, that is metallic oxide, copper oxide, which will undergo reduction to form copper metal. So as I told you, reduction, the process in which oxygen is lost. So copper oxide is losing that oxygen and it is forming copper metal over here, and ammonia is helping copper oxide to undergo that process. Okay, so ammonia gas acts as a reducing agent. It removes oxygen from copper oxide and it converts it into copper. Now, there are two questions which will be asked from this part. That would be the reaction which takes place. So the reaction is put on over here on the screen. You have to study this reaction. This question will come in the balancing chemical equations part. They will ask you reaction between ammonia and copper oxide, or they will ask you how write an equation where ammonia reduces a metallic oxide into a metal. They can ask you a general question also. So at that time you need to know this reaction. Now, the other question would be to write the observation of this reaction. So the observation would be like ammonia obviously is a gas which has got no color. Copper oxide is a solid and it is black in color. Okay, so the black colored copper oxide, when heated in the presence of ammonia, so it has to be heated. So you have to put a delta over here in the reaction. Okay, when it is heated in the presence of ammonia, it turns into copper metal. The color of copper metal is reddish brown. Okay, so reddish brown colored copper metal, or in your textbook it is also called as pinkish brown and all. Okay, so that is why, because we don't use that pinkish and all because we get confused, and we stick to reddish brown because we are using reddish brown in quite a few places. So reddish brown is a color which you can actually remember easily. So pinkish is also mentioned, but that pinkish color of copper exists only if the copper is very pure. Okay, that is like recently made. So we are preparing copper right now. The copper which is made at that particular moment will be like pink in color, and slowly it will undergo oxidation and it will change its color. So we will not write pink in the this thing. So we will be writing the observation as reddish brown because we have studied reddish brown a lot. Okay, so I'll show you a small video on this, and this meeting is gonna end in 10 minutes. I don't know why this happens every time. So I'll just log in again, so you don't have to worry about that. I'll finish this chapter, then only we are stopping today. Okay, so even if it goes off, I'll be coming back and we'll be continuing this session, right? So I'll just show you this video of copper oxide getting reduced to reddish brown copper. Okay, so this reaction takes place inside a reducing tube. This is there in your textbook, right? it says like two reactions taking place together in that reducing tube. In your textbook mentioned the reaction has got like black colored copper oxide. Along with that, we have also been taken like, PbO, that is lead oxide. Okay, so the color of lead oxide we have studied in grade 9. It is buff yellow, right? So we don't have PbO in the scope of syllabus, so I have not mentioned it over here. So we just look at that video and let's come back. Okay.
Now we heat the copper.
So this is a reducing tube which he has taken, and there is this black colored copper oxide which is kept over here. This tube has got a hole over here through which you can see a flame coming out, right? And from this tube over here, he'll be passing on ammonia gas. The video which I have got is reduction of copper oxide using hydrogen gas. You all know that hydrogen is also a good reducing agent, so I didn't find a video of ammonia, but then you need to know that the process remains the same because it's at the end of the day it's like just reduction. So the process is the same. So see what happens when ammonia is passed over copper oxide and the copper oxide is heated. Okay.
Oxide using a roaring Bunsen flame and using the hottest part of the flame, which is just beyond the blue cone. At this point, a number of interesting observations can be made, and these will probably need to be pointed out to the audience. Droplets of water will condense on the cooler part of the reduction tube near the hole. These will evaporate as the tube gets hotter.
You can see that water droplets are formed over here, okay, when we are heating it. That is one of the products formed in this reaction.
The height of the flame will drop as some of the hydrogen is used up, reacting with the oxygen in the copper oxide. The flame may develop a green coloration caused by copper atoms vaporized into the flame. Use the Bunsen burner to chase the glow along the length of the oxide until all the black copper oxide has been changed to pinkish copper. This will take up to a minute. When no trace of black remains, continue to heat for at least a further minute to ensure that all the oxide on the inside of the heap has reacted. If in any doubt, continue heating for longer. Make sure any condensation has evaporated. When you're confident that all the copper oxide has been reduced, the flame is back to its original height, you can stop heating. It's now important to leave the
Okay, so as you can see, that is how the reaction happens. So you could see that the black colored copper oxide gets reduced into reddish brown copper. Okay, so that was one of the reactions in which ammonia acts as a reducing agent. Now we have got two reactions. That is, the reaction is actually the same, but then it happens in two different ways because of the amount of the reactant taken in each of the reaction. This reaction is between ammonia and chlorine. Okay, both gases. So ammonia and chlorine reacts together. Two types of reactions takes place over here. In the first reaction, as you can see, it is like excess of ammonia which is reacting with chlorine. So which means that we are taking more of ammonia, less of chlorine, which can be seen in the equation also. So 8NH3 is reacting with 3Cl2, and the products formed over here are ammonium chloride and nitrogen. Okay, so this reaction you have to study. Both these cases, reaction and observation, are the things which will be asked. So these are the things which you have to remember over here. So when I'm taking excess of ammonia, I'll be getting ammonium chloride and nitrogen gas. So the observation in this reaction would be of ammonium chloride. So you all know the observation for ammonium chloride, which is like dense white fumes, right? And nitrogen being a colorless gas, there is no observation for that. So there is only one observation for this particular reaction, that is dense white fumes of ammonium chloride. The second reaction is again ammonia with chlorine, but in this case we are taking more of chlorine and less of ammonia. Okay, so you can see that we have got more of chlorine and less of ammonia. So this reaction is ammonia reacts with excess of chlorine. So in that case, when ammonia reacts with excess of chlorine, we get hydrogen chloride and nitrogen trichloride. Okay, NCl3. Now here we have got two different products One is a gas, hydrogen chloride is in the gaseous state, and this NCl3 nitrogen chloride is an explosive liquid which is yellow in color. This question has many a times come in the board exam in the observation part. Okay, so they will ask you, what do you observe when you react ammonia with excess of chlorine? So this is the answer you'll be writing, that is explosive yellow colored liquid NCl3 is formed. Okay, so these are the observations which you will be writing for these two questions, right? So chlorine when taken in excess forms yellow explosive liquid NCl3, and when ammonia is taken in excess, it will be forming dense white fumes of ammonium chloride. Now, there is another way of asking a question from this part of the chapter would be, like in this question, that is the second part, they will ask you, name the gas which is formed when ammonia reacts with excess of chlorine. So since we are studying see how NCl3 is formed, that is the observation we'll be studying a lot. So we tend to write that answer, but then you need to know that the gas which is formed in this reaction is hydrogen chloride gas and not NCl3. So you need to read the question properly before you write the answer. So the gas which is produced in this reaction, that is when ammonia reacts with excess of chlorine, is hydrogen chloride, and the liquid which is formed is NCl3, that is nitrogen trichloride. Okay. Similarly, there is only one observation over here because both of them are like gases. So dense white fumes of ammonium chloride will be the only observation you will be writing when the question is when ammonia, that is in excess, reacts with chlorine. Okay, so these are the three things which we'll be studying under ammonia as a reducing agent, right? So you need to study these three reactions, and you will also study the observations for these reactions. Okay, right. Yes, Vaishnavi, yeah, Vaishnavi, yeah.
Sir, for the last reaction you just mentioned,
Yeah.
so HCl gas is made, so NCl3 will be in the form of precipitate or just like
NCl3 will be a liquid.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so it will be there in the container as a liquid. Meanwhile, HCl will be in the form of a gas.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, is there any other doubts, please? If there's any other doubts, please raise your hand. If there's any other doubt from this topic, that is ammonia as a reducing agent, these three reactions and these three observations, any doubt with respect to this topic, please raise your hand. Okay. Yes, Sahil. Sahil. Yes, Aradhya.
Sir, I wanted to ask that the observation for copper oxide, you said that it changes into reddish brown, but in the textbook it's giving just brown copper. So we need to add reddish there.
You have to write reddish, yes.
Okay, and sir,
okay, 1 second. I'll just explain this to others also. So when we had gone for this board corrections, they were not accepting any other colors rather than that pinkish, whatever I mentioned first, and the reddish brown color, because kids tend to write this in the reverse form also. So instead of writing, say for example, reddish brown, you write brownish red, it absolutely goes wrong. Okay, so the point why I am telling you to learn reddish brown is because reddish brown you studied properly and you write it reddish brown, so you don't mess that up.
okay.
So that is the point why I tell you to study this, so that you don't, right?
So, and the equations which are just above the, like the two which you have explained, dense white fumes, that ammonia in excess, the two equations are there. Do we need to study those?
Yeah, you need to study those equations. Yes, it will come as balancing equation questions.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.